we're supposed to identify the particular information these users of accounting information need. So we have customers, owners, and the government. So Portia is number one. Portia, let's go.
So, sir, please, for the customers, they need it for assurance that the business will continue to produce goods, services for them to buy. And for the owners need the accounting information to know the financial position or to see if the business can stand for a long time. And the government needs a business financial statement to ensure its existence or to assess the tax liability of the business.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll go on to Prof. Josephine. Then Portia, thank you for that submission. Prof. Josephine, go ahead.
So for the banks, they needed to know the financial stability of a business to either determine whether the debt servicing and interest service coverage.
Okay.
Should I continue with the rest?
Of course, yes. Give us the rest, what you wrote on the others as well.
Okay. For the customers, they also need assurance that a business will produce quality goods for them.
Okay.
For the government, they also need to know the financial information to assess the tax liability of a business.
Okay.
And the owners also need timely information regarding their financial performance.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think Prof. Nicole will also share. And then
so the owners, they need the financial information to assess they need the financial information to know the performance of the business, whether to withdraw or give more capital to the business.
okay. Okay, are you done with the submission?
Yes, please. Professor Portia said almost everything.
Okay. Thank you, professors. But interestingly, if I'm to mark this, I think majority of you were going to, you would have gotten some points deducted because you were telling me that some of the points you made are very valid, but you skipped a little from the main context of the question. Okay, so let me put it in a proper or better perspective for us so that we take note going forward. Okay, so the question is, what information do the following users of accounting information need? So what do they need? Now, if I ask you as a student, what information do you need from a teacher? Okay, it is different from when I ask, what do these users use the information for? So majority of your responses were telling me what they use the information for and not the specific information they need. Okay, I put in this activity because I wanted to test that from my professors. So let's get it straight. It is one thing, the specific information they need, and another thing, what they use the information for. Please, do you appreciate the point I'm making?
Yes.
Great. So let's pick them one by one. When we talk of a customer, what information does a customer need from a business or from a business accounting information? The first and the most important one is the product prices. The product prices. So customers need the prices of the product or services the business are rendering or offering, as well as the payment terms. So the number one information is product prices and payment terms. Another is the product quality and reliability. And then you can talk of other things like maybe warranty or after sales services. So they need this specific information. Okay. How much does the goods or the services cost? So you see, it's different from what they use this information for. So now let me speak about what they use the information for. So if a customer knows the prices of the goods or services produced or rendered by a business, then he or she will use this information to determine whether to deal with this business or not. Okay. In terms of product quality, then the customer can determine whether to buy the product from business A or from business B. Okay. Now on the owners, the specific information the owners need, one includes the financial performance. Okay. So financial performance here means, is the business generating income or revenue? Is the business making losses? Does the business have enough cash to settle its debt? Okay, so they need the financial performance of the business. Now they will use this information to decide, like somebody rightly put it, whether to invest more or withdraw what they have already invested. Okay, great. Well, apart from that, they can also look at how much returns they are making from the business. Now, the banks look for this particular information. One is the credit worthiness. Okay, so they will look at the credit worthiness of the business. That's the information they need to be able to tell whether to grant loans to the business or not. Okay. They also look at the liquidity, and when we say liquidity, we are referring to the ability of a business to generate cash. Then the government looks at the profit levels and the tax payment and compliance of the business, as well as other regulatory compliance issue, and also the economic data to be able to plan for the whole country or economy. So, professors, I think you now appreciate what the question was requiring from you. So note it down. When you are asked to state the information they need, and when they ask you to state why or what they use the information for. Okay, any question? Any question on?
No, sir.
Okay, Prof. Josephine, go ahead.
Please, can you repeat what the banks use the information for?
Okay, so the banks use the information to determine whether to grant loans to the business or not.
Thank you.
Great. Can we make progress now? So, dear professors, let's zoom into our first topic, which is the accounting equation. The accounting equation. Interestingly, I think all my professors here are mathematicians, so you've heard of equation. So share with me your view on what an equation is. Equation. Okay, Prof. Akoli, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Sir, please, equation refers to it is a mathematical statement that contains a variable and a constant.
Thank you very much. That's an awesome description of an equation. So my version of it is that an equation is a mathematical statement that establishes relationship between variables. Okay, I think I can write that here. In accounting, they won't ask you what an equation is, but for the purposes of knowledge, let's know what an equation is. So it's a mathematical statement that establishes relationship between variables. Okay. Great. So what then will be an accounting equation? Prof. Portia, I think I'll call you on this one since you have foreknowledge of this equation. Accounting equation, what is it?
Okay, say an accounting equation is the, oh, let's say the is the as okay. I don't really know the definition for accounting equation, but to me is okay. Just they didn't really teach us on that the accounting equation definition.
Okay. I love that response. Thank you very much. Prof. Akoli, let the lady Nicole.
So the accounting equation is a formula that states that a company's total asset is equal to the sum of its liabilities and shareholders' equity or capital.
Awesome. I'm impressed. But dear Prof. Nicole, can you make meaning of what you just said? What does it mean in our daily life to say that the assets of a business should be equal to its financial obligations and owner's investment or equity?
Okay, so how I understand it is that the total assets are the resources a company owns, and the equity is the capital, like the money the owner or the shareholders need, and the liabilities are the debts and stuff. So if you want to find the total asset of a company, you have to add the capital of the shareholders and the debt they are owing to know the total resources of a company, I guess.
Okay. I think I love that. Thank you very much. Prof. Augustine Akoli, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, sir, no. I said everything.
She has said everything.
Everything.
Prof. Portia, I'll pick from you and then I'll add my comment.
So say I just formed this up. Okay, accounting equation is a formula that shows the sum of a company's liability and owner's equity should be equal to a total asset, meaning the owner's total assets must be equal to the sum of the liability and equity in the business. So the capital that is used to set up the business must be equal to the capital to set up the business and the liability the owner owns must be equal to his total assets to make the equation complete.
Okay. Great. Now, as a teacher, I'm thinking, do my professors really appreciate this equation and how relevant it is to even their personal daily lives? So let me ask this question. As a child, be it a son or a daughter, technically you have owners. That is to say, your mother and your father own you because, of course, they gave birth to you. So they are your owners. Any other person apart from your father and mother could be termed as a third party because they don't own you, right? So, example, maybe your teachers, your friends. I don't want to go to the other line of the family, just considering the nuclear family. Now, you appreciate that if you are a business, then your parents are your owners, and any other person will be a third party. Now, as a business, be it Prof. Akoli, Prof. Josephine, Prof. Nico, or whoever, you have some personal belongings. Specifically, you have shoes, you have clothing, you have bags. I think some of you even have phones and cars. Some of you own cars, or it's not the case. Okay. Now my question is, how did you get these belongings? How did you get the phone? How did you get the bag? How did you get the shoes? And I want responses on this one. How did you get these belongings? Yes, go ahead. Josephine, go ahead.
It's through our parents. Our parents bought them for us.
Okay, so Josephine says that for her, it's her parents throughout. So that is to mean that all the belongings or the properties Josephine has were provided by her owners, and that is the parent. Okay, so we have a situation where all the resources were provided by the owners. Okay, great. Do we have a scenario where all the resources were provided by third parties, people who were not parents? Well, I'm sure none of you here has that, but myself, most of my resources were provided by third parties. Okay. So you can also have a scenario where all the resources are provided by third parties. Now, even though Josephine did not acknowledge that sometimes, some of the belongings come from third parties. So you can also have a scenario where all the resources are coming from the owners and third parties. Sometimes your friends can, give you a watch, which becomes your personal belonging, your resource or your property. Okay. Now, the relationship between these is established that all your personal belongings should be equal to what you got from your parent or what you got from people who are not your parent, right? In the third scenario. Or in the second scenario where all that you have were provided by people who were not your parent. Or in the final or first scenario, which is all your resources were given to you by your parent. So for a business, all the resources of a business, one can be provided by the owners of the business or can be provided by third parties, that's people who are not owners of the business, or a combination of the two, owners and what? Third parties. So the accounting equation tries to establish a relationship between the resources of a business and how these resources were acquired. Okay, so it established the relation between the resources of a business and how the resources were acquired. Now let's put certain things into, standardized terms. The resources of a business are termed as assets. What is coming from the owners of the business are referred to as capital. And what is coming from third parties are referred to as liabilities. So the other definition you can give for the accounting equation is that it is a mathematical statement that establishes a relationship between assets, capital, and liabilities of a business. Please, am I making sense? If you have a question, I'm ready. Okay. So you now appreciate what the accounting equation is. Now, based on what we have discussed, we have three types of accounting equation, or the accounting equation can be in three forms. So let's look at that. The first one is where the assets are equal to what is coming from the owners, which now we know is capital, plus what is coming from third parties, what we know as liabilities. Or we could have assets equaling just the capital. And here I want my professors to share their thoughts. What explanation would you give to an equation like this? Asset equals capital. Then what does it mean? Okay, I'll call it.
Say, it means that the resources you have is equal to the owner's money. So the owner's resources.
Okay. So that means that all the resources were provided by the owners. None of the resources was secured or funded from a third party assistance. All of them is coming from the owners. Okay. Then the last one is where the assets are equal to the liabilities. So that also means that the owners did not contribute anything. All the resources of the business are coming from third parties. And it's possible like that. When we pick the first equation, which is assets equals capital plus liabilities, we can manipulate this to get other formulas out of it. Okay, well, I believe in my mathematicians here. So you can find capital by doing a change of subjects. And I think I would have to call Zoe to assist me on this one. Zoe, based on this equation, how can we determine capital?
Will be equal to liabilities minus assets.
Okay, I think you meant to say assets good minus liabilities. Thank you very much, Prof. Zoe, for that. Okay. Likewise, we can also get liabilities by looking at assets minus capital. Now, dear professors, the next thing we have to do is to understand into full details what assets are, capital is, and liabilities are. I think we know that the assets are the resources of the business. Capital refers to resources provided by the owner, right? Or invested by the owner or owners of a business. And the liabilities are the obligations from third parties, okay? obligations we owe to third parties. But before we go into that, let's do some small mathematics gymnastics here. And I want my professors to pick their calculators and do this for me. So this is what I want you to do from this small case here. Johnson Limited is a business that has assets worth 50,000 Ghana cedis and liabilities 23,000 Ghana cedis. What is the capital of Johnson Limited? Please, I think you can do this in the next minutes. And I want the answers dropping. So Johnson has assets worth 50,000 Ghana cedis, liabilities of 23,000 Ghana cedis. What is the capital of Johnson? If you are ready, you can give us your answer. Okay, Portia.
So Johnson's asset is 27,000.
Okay, so Prof. Portia says 27,000. Let me pick few from the others, and then maybe one of you explain how you got to the figure. Or do we all have 27,000?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm hearing yes from one person. The others?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Great. So how did you get the 27,000? I think I'll do the explanation. So from the equation, we know that assets equals capital plus liabilities. Now the question gave us the assets to be 50,000. So that means we had 50,000 is equal to, the capital is what we are looking for, right? Plus the liabilities were given us 23,000. So we do change of subject. Capital then is equal to the asset minus liabilities. That's 50,000 minus 23,000. Therefore, our capital indeed is equal to 27,000. In fact, I have ordered some KFC for all of you, so expect it in your homes very soon.
Okay.
Anyway, please, this one, let me issue a disclaimer. If you don't get it, it's not my fault. It means that KFC just didn't deliver. Okay, awesome. So I'm highly impressed with your contribution so far. Now, dear professors, it's a ritual with me. On my first day with my students, I don't do serious teaching, but I don't know, somehow your vibes give me the motivation to teach more. So I don't want to teach plenty. We have been able to look at the accounting equation at least. We know that this equation establishes the relationship between the resources, which are known as the assets of a business, and how these resources were funded. either by the owners or third parties. And so we saw the three scenarios of this equation where the asset equals what is coming from the owner capital plus liabilities, or we could have asset equaling capital or asset equaling liabilities. Now we can manipulate the formula, okay, to determine one variable when the other variables are given. I'll pause here. But in the third session, we are going to use that for an exercise, which you submit on your private pages for marking. Deadline will be given when I share the assignment on the page. Okay. So hopefully on our next meeting, we'll go into details what an asset is, the types of assets, what capital is, what liabilities are, and the types of liabilities. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution and your participation in this our first lesson. And thank you for making me break my ritual of teaching on my first day. I'll pause for questions and reactions, and then we can call it a day. Okay, Inshira, go ahead.
Mr. Please, I was around when it was. I wasn't here for the orientation. I don't know how to play. The private thing for this.
Wow, I think Inshira's network is, but I recorded the lesson, so I'll share it in the group. Okay.
For the orientation.
You are not at the orientation. Is that what you are asking?
Yes.
Okay, Inshira, I'm struggling. I don't know if the others can hear you, or then they can reiterate your points, but I'm struggling to hear you.
Please, I can hear her.
Okay, so yeah, tell me what.
I think she's trying to say she wasn't here for the orientation, so she doesn't know how to create the private page or something.
Oh, my dear Inshira, so you know how to create a page on WhatsApp, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, you know what? Contact Nicole, and Nicole will assist you how to create the page. Okay. Great, great. So if any of you have any challenges with creating the private page, just reach out and we would have it fixed. Thank you very much. Any other question or submission from professors? Prof. Abubakar, let me acknowledge your presence. You didn't have the opportunity to introduce yourself. I think you do that in our next lesson. Or if you,
yes, sir.
Okay. Well, quickly use some 30 seconds to introduce yourself. Your name, your school, your class, and
Okay, please. Abubakar Zakwan, and I'm in Wambas too.
Okay.
I'm a student of Accra Academy.
Wow. Okay. I love the way you say one bus too. Is it a U-turn bus or an STC bus?
One business too.
Great. Okay. Awesome. So, dear professors, thank you very much. I appreciate your participation. I'll put the small test. It's a simple one. Okay. It's highly examinable. So answer, create your personal pages, put it there. I'll mark for you. I'll share the recordings with you. Now, before that, would you prefer when I share a recording of our live classes like this, or you'd want me to record it separately where you were not there so that I share? Which option do you prefer? Or maybe you don't understand my question. So I have recorded this, our discussion. Okay, so when I share with you all the questions, everything that you said, I said will be there. The other style is that I would teach separately when you are not around, okay? Explain the concept. So which option do you want? Is it sharing our live discussions, or I should do the lessons separately and share with you on the page? Okay, Josephine.
So I prefer the first option.
Okay. I think Josephine has decided for all of us. So I'll share our live lessons at least, so that as you learn where there were jokes and you smile small, you can smile as well. So professors, I'll end here. I'll see you when I see you, but watch out for the assignment on the page. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Right.
Zoe has a question.
Yes. Morning, sir.
Yes.
This is Zoe's father.
Okay. Daddy.
Yes. I was here for some time and I was listening to the
Okay.
lesson. Yes. If you don't ask Zoe any question, she will be sitting here the whole day. She will never talk.
Exactly. So I think I noticed that. So I asked her and she responded.
That is how she is.
Okay.
So right now I just asked her, did he ask him? Because he said no.
Okay.
And I decided to come in.
Okay.
Because
Don't worry,
I was here
sir.
when all of them were talking and she didn't talk.
Yeah.
And that is her style. So please work on it for me.
I think that she contributed at a